In the next decade or so, when I say decade, I'm talking about 10 to 15 years, we're going to see all sorts of amazing advances. Finally, we're going to have cars that drive themselves and don't crash. This is likely to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. We're going to have cars that fly themselves, literally flying cars, they're coming.
All right, so I'm gonna hand the mic over. I'll let you guys do your thing. I think Mr. Man wants to share a screen, and I'll let you guys take over. I'm gonna give my throat a break real quick.
Yeah, take it away, Mr. Man. Go ahead, brother.
All right, for sure. Thanks, Aqua. I saw your hand up. I'll give it to you just after this.
No,
here,
I was pointing at you actually. I was
okay,
I was
cool.
pointing at you. So take your time, brother. Take your time.
Most people look at DeFi and think of the human element of DeFi, but what we're going into is something completely different. It's not just DeFi for the human. There's also IoT. So I caught wind of this a couple weeks ago, and check this out here. They're talking about how DeFi can be utilized in different ways.
Tesla's latest unveiling of its futuristic cyber van, driverless taxis, and humanoid robots taking the tech world and social media by storm. Our next guest saying that Tesla's vision for the future, in particular, the robots here, could be a catalyst for stable coins. Let's talk about that. We want to bring in Anthony Pompliano. He's the founder and CEO of Professional Capital Management. Anthony, it's great to have you back here on Yahoo Finance with us. Let's talk to us about, we saw your Substack come out last week. It really caught our attention, just this catalyst that you see for stable coins on the heels of what we heard from Tesla last week. So walk us through your thesis and why you see that being a driver or an uptick here for stablecoin usage.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I think there's a lot of confusion in the market. People want to talk about artificial intelligence. They want to talk about machine learning. They want to talk about crypto, but it's all one big trade. It's all just automation. And ultimately, if you get the automation with machines, those machines are going to need to be able to transact with each other. And they're not going to be able to use 1 or 2 day settlement time money. So the beauty is that we now have these digital rails for money, which have instantaneous settlement. Now, a lot of people in the past have pointed to Bitcoin being one of those potential currencies, but I don't think that people or machines are going to want to spend their Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's going to be more valuable in the future, they're going to want to save that. It's like a savings account. Instead, they're going to want to use their checking account, which is digital stable coins. So they're going to want to be able to spend dollars across digital rails. And I think that we are watching the rise of the machines and the rise of automation really just usher in a new era for money. And it's going to be dollars in this new digital form.
That's not good for Dogecoin, which Elon Musk has been very vocal about in the past, Anthony. All just aside, I guess as we think about.
All right, and I do want to show you guys this other one here. So just give me a quick second to pull that one up.
Yo, that is fire, bro. That is mad fire. I watch Yahoo Finance. I usually have that on every sunrise, and I didn't catch that. That was a good find right there, bro.
Can I say something about that? You know what irritates me about videos like that? It's like the media, if you've noticed, is designed in such a way where it doesn't give people time to process everything. Like there's no elaboration on what he said. He just drops the information and like moves on, which again, we tend as human beings with everything that's going on in our lives, whether we think to believe this to be the case or not, we tend to have a short attention span. So, when he doesn't give the opportunity to speak further on that, even though that was such bombshell information, it doesn't give people the opportunity to sit down and digest it because now they're fixated on something else because he's about to come in and hammer it with some other breaking news, right?
Right.
It's like slow the world down and listen to detail. Like I tell the people in my community, the number one thing you have to do to become successful in these markets is just pay attention to detail. I learned that in the military. Paying attention to detail saved my life multiple times. And when you just zoom out and realize that this is a battlefield, like not to get, comparable, but it's like, it is. You have to pay attention to detail. You have to pick up on minor things that nobody else is. And when people are just rapping on the internet, pay attention to their words. Pay attention to their demeanor, their direction of their eyes, whether they flick their nose when they say something. Just it's so crazy that people don't do that. So that was a fire clip. I heard that from downstairs because I'm about to make a cup of coffee, but continue.
All right. So now that we have a deeper understanding into DeFi here, I want to show you guys this clip here. Cypress, can you pull this one up for me here? If you're still around. There we go. Check this out. This is a summary of what your world will look like in 3 minutes.
Run it.
Hopefully you'll have my slides now. Yes.
Yes,
All right,
we
good.
can see them.
All right. So, in the next decade or so, when I say decade, I'm talking about 10 to 15 years, we're going to see all sorts of amazing advances. Finally, we're going to have cars that drive themselves and don't crash. This is likely to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. We're going to have cars that fly themselves, literally flying cars, they're coming. We will have drones delivering almost everything. We won't need to have, our Instacarts and so on send human beings over. They can simply drone it over. We're going to have robotic housekeepers. If you remember Rosie from the Jetsons, she's coming. We're going to have robotic friends and companions, and this is really important in the West because it's, the pandemic of loneliness. And we're going to have AI doctors. Not only the magical mirrors that Helen showed us, but actually intelligent assistants who monitor our health, who have all of our data, and who can guide us better than human beings can. Well, I think we're going to see this within the next 5 years or so. And then we're going to have cures for all diseases, practically, almost every disease, including cancer. This is my life's mission, to cure cancer. And I'll tell you more about that. We will also have gene-edited plants so that we can grow food in the desert and all sorts of other amazing things. Gene-edited humans. Yes, this is coming.
I just want to add the growing food in the desert, that already exists. The Sahara Desert is greening up right now.
Yo.
And so is Jurassic Park. If you follow Google George Church and the work he's doing, he's working on bringing back the woolly mammoth, but these are coming. And then bionic enhancements. If you remember the $6 million man, Steve Austin, watch a couple of those shows. Yes, Steve Austin is coming in the next 10 to 15 years or so. And there's much, much more. We're talking about virtual worlds and holodecks. The next 3 or 4 years, the technology will be perfected to the point that we're going to be having these meetings on Mars or the moon or wherever else. 3D printed houses, electronics, household goods, space colonies, the next green revolution, vertical farms, 3D printed meat. I'm going to talk more about this. Unlimited and almost free clean energy. It's coming. Commercial space exploration is coming. All happening at the same time. Because this is the history of technology, exponential. It took thousands of years to go from agriculture to pottery to the plow to mathematics. And voila, over the last 100 years, we've had advance after advance after advance. We are like those frogs in the water, which is getting hotter and hotter. We don't seem to realize what's going on here. Technology is advancing exponentially and making amazing things possible. We've known about computing for a long time. Our smartphones are more powerful than the crazy supercomputers of yesteryear. But it's everything computing touches: AI, robotics, 3D printing, virtual reality networks, digital medicine, you name it. Every technology which becomes information-based is advancing exponentially. Exponential technologies are converging and making them, science fiction possible. First of all, let's start with.
There we go. I just want to say this panel here is a group called the Change Makers, and one of the individuals on this panel is actually from the IMF. So these aren't just a group of nobodies. This is a group of somebodies, and that are known as the Change Makers. And what they do in our world, they're the ones who create the direction that we will be going into in terms of the economy. That's what I wanted to share.
Dang, that's wild. I'm gonna just say this: if we 3D printing homes, I definitely want to 3D print a pyramid home, bro, in the future. That straight up, I'm living in a pyramid, bro. You feel me? Well, yeah, that was, dude. That's pretty much everything that I've already visualized of what the future is going to look like too, and what I'm always, being that guy in the corner of the room and annoying everybody talking about all this stuff. But this stuff is coming, man. I mean, that's a great share, Mr. Man. So let me just share what I got though. So what I got is pretty fire. And it kind of goes hand in hand with like the videos you might be seeing on my X. I'm over here saying XRPL is going to be the best in class institutional DeFi, and I'm getting this from the big players on the Ripple team. So I got 4 different clips I want to share. But this first clip is basically Monica Long, who's the president of Ripple. and she's sharing what the future looks like for the XRPL and XRP. So just tap in here. Hold on, let me share my screen though. Actually, I'm not sharing my screen. Hold on one second.
I got yelled at by Twitter keyboard warriors the other day because I said Swift isn't going away.
Oh,
I want to play a video clip eventually when everybody gets through their portion of that mention of the Swift ecosystem not going away and only scaling up with this new blockchain evolution.
All right, so tap in. Just hear what Monica Long says here. What best in class institutional DeFi. All right, hold on, tap in.
Relatively new entrant in the lineup for Ripple, if you will. So maybe interesting for the audience to hear a little bit about our journey. So we're adding. I mean, Brad mentioned stable coins, Futureverse. Kind of highlighted custody. How do we get there, and what sort of was that progression?
Yeah. So through our payments business, we had to solve a lot of problems to bring the benefits of doing payments on chain, which we all know is about speed, transparency, cost efficiency, bring those benefits to regulated institutions in a way that was seamless. So I think something many of us in the industry may underestimate is just the challenge of integrating blockchains with traditional systems, so payment systems. So that's been a long-standing priority of ours. And over time, we have built payout capabilities into more than 80 markets. We've also had to create and solve for creating liquidity across different fiat currencies as well as digital assets. And so that also as an operation is something that, those two things together, we think are some things that financial institutions can use, not just for payments, but for other use cases in the future. So that's kind of what sprouted this vision for Ripple to really become this end-to-end digital asset infrastructure provider for financial services to come to blockchain. And so the next piece was to bring in custody through the Medico acquisition. The RLUSD stablecoin is another kind of critical piece. And what's really exciting is we see XRP Ledger being best in class for institutional decentralized finance. So our priority is for all.
So best in class institutional DeFi. So when you guys hear me say this on TikTok, you hear me saying this on my videos I'm posting on X, I'm taking this directly from Monica Long. You know what I mean? So I'm aligning my opinion now with Monica Long's opinion. So,
and what's crazy too, bros, is since I just brought up keyboard warriors on Twitter, like a lot of people will talk crap about the fact that you say things like that and not even know that about your research background. Like a lot of the stuff that I share, that Mr. Mann shares, that Frank shares, none of this is opinionated research. It's all information from like these people on these panel discussions and in these documents that we read, that we're just like, we're more so relayers of information that's readily, unnoticed. I apologize. I just ate a power bar because I fast in the morning. Another thing that I want to touch base on that Monica Long just said is she mentioned how complex one thing that she sees that people don't actually understand about this space is how complex it is to actually integrate, blockchains into traditional financial systems. And I see that amongst retail investors, especially the ones that get mad at me when I'm like, yo, like $100 XRP, I believe in that 100%. And I hope it happens because I got a lot of XRP, but like, let's be realistic on when that's going to take place. It's going to take time, like honest to God, but is it going to happen? Yeah. I mean, in my personal opinion, at some point in time, we're going to see a much higher XRP price. To what that is, who knows? Again, I probably won't sell my XRP because I'm going to use it in DeFi, but like, it's not just like overnight, like flip the switch, right? Like it's something that's going to be gradual. It's going to be gradual. And then once the infrastructure is laid, then it'll be sudden. But the infrastructure, as we've heard, proof of concept, sandboxes, regulatory clarity, custodial solutions, interoperability solutions, all these things are still, they're still being worked on. And we, as a mature retail investor, we should want that. Like we shouldn't want to deal with any more headaches like Sam Bankman-Fried or Terra Luna. Like you should be happy that this is taking time and that the space is maturing instead of rug pulling you. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just gonna, but go ahead, bro.
All right. So
Just imagine if.
Go ahead, Frank.
But just imagine if Ripple brings their on-demand liquidity on-chain. Just imagine those numbers alone. They processing 30 billion worth of value. If they on-chain in products, etc., damn, XRP is gonna skyrocket, man, for sure.
That's real, bro. Well, this next part I want to share is basically, all right, so there's like 4 snippets I want to share of David Schwartz speaking on stage. But the first part is him speaking about a certain, I guess, mechanism. It's called the continuous auction mechanism that's built into the XRPL. Listen to what he breaks down right now and what that's going to do. And then just think about it. You know, when you're debating other people about your favorite digital assets and you're like, you know, XRP, it's the fastest, it's the cheapest. Well, it's going to be more than just the fastest and the cheapest. So tap in and listen. Let's all listen together with what David Schwartz is basically explaining, the possibilities that can happen on the XRPL. I don't know if other chains are going to be, you know, copycatting and doing something similar, possibly. But this is, you know, what the XRPL has going on. So tap in what David Schwartz is saying right here. So hold on one second. Let me just get it to the correct time.
Other unique features that are worth calling out. One of them is the continuous auction mechanism, which reduces impermanent loss. This is a fairly clever feature that reduces the losses due to arbitrage. If you're a token holder in the automated market maker, you hold a sort of share of the automated market maker's yield. Arbitrageurs will trade against the automated market maker when prices change and take some of the yield away. What this continuous auction mechanism does is it enables people to bid for the right to sort of be the first one to arbitrage. And if they pay, and so some of the money that would normally be made by arbitrageurs and be losses to the pool, part of impermanent loss, instead is yield from the auction mechanism.
So, you know, as more and more get educated on DeFi and they start understanding all the different perks in DeFi, I promise you, I think what he just explained, again, the continuous auction mechanism, that it's basically helping getting rid of impermanent loss, that is major, guys. And this is, again, has everything to do with DeFi, decentralized finance. So think about some institutional point of view. Institutions are like, yo, let's get on the XRPL. They got the continuous auction mechanism that's going to alleviate some of our impermanent loss. Go ahead, though.
I want to, am I unmuted? Yeah, there we go. I want to, just because David Schwartz was talking about reducing impermanent loss, right? Well, I was watching, hold on, I'm trying to find it real quick, 22 minutes and 30 seconds. I just want to share this video since we're on that tangent, and I shared, you know, video clips and fundamentals of Hedera bringing institutions into this space. And the whole idea of this video today is to show you guys that institutions are coming in the doors, opening for that, for them to have that capability. Reduction in impermanent loss is a very big thing. And since we've been DeFi mentors and we created the Wealth 28 Club in order to show people how we are involved in DeFi and how, you know, we get our digital assets working for us, and how, again, you can as well if you choose to go that route. But one of the main things and arguments that I've seen amongst people that are hesitant to get into this space is the terminology impermanent loss. And it's because a lot of people, they hear this terminology and then they just run from it instead of trying to understand it, or how figuring out how to mitigate that, right? How to minimize impermanent loss. There's always going to be risk involved in crypto and investing in general. But the goal is, how can you take a strategic approach to mitigate that risk? And impermanent loss is one of the main risks in DeFi. We'll listen to what this individual rep from Saucer Swap says here. I'm going to share my screen just since we're on this tangent, just about a week or two ago, about mitigating impermanent loss, and how Saucer Swap has this new ability for you to provide one-sided liquidity with Hedera or with HBAR, and how it mitigates impermanent loss. Take a second here and just listen to what he says. This is one of, I believe, the key developers at Saucer Swap Labs, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting. And so back to you, Joseph, on Saucer Swap and the V2. So you mentioned all the improvements that came with V2. One feature that was introduced for V2 pool is auto pools. How has that feature improved user experience and liquidity management on your platform?
Yeah, so auto pools are the latest major addition to Saucer Swap, and they're based on the Ichi Active Liquidity Management, or ALM protocol. So they enable users to deposit a single asset into a vault, which sits atop a Saucer Swap version 2 pool. An algorithm will then take this user deposit and allocate it across a range of prices within that pool, and periodically rebalance the funds to continue earning fees at the current price of the pool as it changes. So Uniswap version 3 showed us that managing concentrated liquidity positions is notoriously difficult and time-consuming. Auto pools have undoubtedly improved the UX of Saucer Swap by allowing users to participate in V2 without the continuous effort of manually rebalancing their positions. There are drawbacks, of course. So auto pools may not capitalize on fees and rewards to the same extent as a diligent liquidity provider. But even so, they enable any user to maintain exposure to and earn the majority of their fees in their chosen deposit token, while also benefiting from its potential price appreciation. And it also follows that the risk of impermanent loss is reduced.
So I just wanted to play that. He talks about how it still gives you one-sided asset exposure, like, and you can still, excuse me, benefit from the price appreciation, right? While also reducing the risk of impermanent loss, because you're not in a two-sided liquidity pool having to balance out the difference of the asset and price appreciation or price depreciation when you're inside a liquidity pool, right? And I know that this might be a lot of gibberish to people that don't understand this lingo, but that's why we created the Wealth 28 Club, for you to understand this lingo and how you can take the HBAR that you're holding right now. Again, if you choose to do so, you can enter into these pools, these positions in DeFi that he's talking about, and you can earn liquidity on your digital assets, which is exactly why I stand by the ideology of I'm not selling my digital assets. Like, honest to God, at this point, if you're still associated with people that are fixated on selling their digital assets for fiat currency, you are so far behind in this digital adoption curve. You've therefore confirmed that you are watching the wrong people in this space. Like, if people on YouTube and Twitter, you're watching and they're telling you to sell your crypto and start an Airbnb business or whatever type of real estate business or whatever, like, they're not tapped into what you're about to be able to do in the digital realm of things, where you're going to be able to invest in the metaverse and tokenize real world assets and earn yield on a real estate portfolio that's entirely digital. You know, I mean, and we're talking about that here at CYPRX. Mr. Aqua's covered that multiple times on Zoom calls. You know, it's happening. We've shared so many documents from large organizations showing people that this is all taking place right now. So, I mean, it's such a time to be alive and get educated and join like-minded communities. But go ahead. Who's got the Mr. Aquaman? You got your stage back up? Go ahead.
Yeah. I got a few more clips from David on stage. And you know, earlier you had said that these guys, they'll just say stuff on stage and won't elaborate, right? Like, David is he's king of doing shit like that. But listen to what he talks about right now. Like, he kind of changed my whole perspective on LPs, because I was just looking at the LP as, oh, this is what you need to get in the liquidity pool to earn yield. But listen to his perspective on LPs. And he just says it like, you got to have the ear to catch it and hear it, because he doesn't elaborate really on it. But just tap in what he says here right now. Hold on one second here. Let me fast forward just a second.
Institutional DeFi feature. This is institutional lending. These are like mortgages or commercial loans. They're not over collateralized like DeFi loans. These are traditional loans, and they're enforced off ledger. So that means that the credit check, if the payments aren't made, there might be litigation. That all happens off ledger, but the funding all happens on ledger. So that means that if you're interested in funding the loan, you could pay into one of these lending pools, and as payments are made on the loan, you could receive money automatically from the ledger as those payments are made. And you could also use the loans as collateral. You could use your share of the payments as a form of payment. So it'd be very liquid for the holders of these loan pools.
So he says it'll be very liquid for the owners of these loan pools. So think about the power of your own liquidity by having your hands on a couple of LPs, and like the buying opportunities that you may have just by showing proof that you are an owner of one of these LPs that sit on XRPL. So, you know
what's so crazy, bro, is one of the high net worth individuals that sits in my circle about 2 years ago when I first met him, he says to me, "Hey, Sai, why are you investing in XRP?" And I was just talking about price appreciation and how I trade it, because at that point in time in my life, that's all XRP meant to me. I was like, you know what, I trade it and I hold it. I bought it back in 2017, and it's a good pair to day trade because it's not as volatile as other digital assets in the space, as you all have most likely noticed, right? So with that being said, he was like, bro, you're going to be able to be your own bank in the future with XRP. And I was like, nah. But then, right at the end of last year, rolling into this year, I started getting into paying attention to what David Schwartz was talking about, the AMM feature, and then how that launched in March. Now we now have this. I was like always aware of DeFi because I've been staking HBAR, staking my Ethereum, so on and so forth, but never really actually understood the expansion of DeFi and what you could really do individually with these assets. And then I was like, yo, this is happening on the XRPL now. It got me so motivated, and I don't understand why more people in the XRP community aren't motivated by understanding that in the near future, we're about to have a capability with our assets, particularly in this case, XRP, that has never been available outside of this year. Like, this is all happening for the first time. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
If you talk to somebody in the ETH community about DeFi, they're like, dude, that's so like freaking 2021, bro. Like, I don't even want to talk about it, like they're used to it.
Yeah.
And we're at a point right now where in the XRP community, the XRP community is like, it's a scam. It's like, yo, it's not. It's been here for a minute, and it's only about to scale farther, way farther than it's ever been before, So
100%, bro. And it seems like the sentiment too amongst all these, high-ranking individuals in the space, like Monica Long, David Schwartz, the people that you guys were sharing earlier, what is it, the founder of Aave and the co-founder of Chainlink, they're all on this sentiment that institutional DeFi. So tap into what David Schwartz is even saying as well. So it all comes together. And if you put all these guys in a room, I'm pretty sure they're all going to be like, really aligned. It seems like, you know what I mean? What happened?
People on Twitter would rather pay attention to David Schwartz Twitter deciphers and like Twitter codes, like his little things, instead of actually listening to what he says.
100%.
Like, people probably pay more attention to riddles and believe riddles more than they believe like actual detailed research, which is mind blowing to me.
Yeah, bro. I would say look at all of it. Well, all right. So tap in. Listen to what David Schwartz says. This is his opinion, right? He makes it loud and clear. But again, like, do we have the capability of doing what David Schwartz can do? Like, can we go and be the CTO of Ripple? Like, I don't know. So tap in, all right?
Know what you are. You have to know what you aren't. But I just want to point out that, like, we think institutional DeFi is probably for the next year or two where a lot of the action is, and probably where the most growth is going to be. We could be wrong about that, and that doesn't mean that other things are not going to take off as well. Like, we don't have a crystal ball any more than anybody else.
So yeah, that's it. But again, that's his opinion, and I align my opinion where I'm investing at. And this guy is the CTO of Ripple. This guy's extreme. Like, I love David Schwartz, so I'm going to align with this guy until further notice. But this is where I align my opinion from, guys. This is where I get my opinion from. This is the reason why.
I agree with you that if you take a look at all the blockchains that are out there, all the digital assets that are out there, it's honestly at the point where if they don't and aren't building a DeFi ecosystem, they're probably not going to be one of the ones that survives fully to a certain extent, because the future is going to be DeFi. These blockchain organizations, not all of them, depending on the use case, but most of them are going to need to be able to survive and thrive in a DeFi native ecosystem. Like, be able to connect the different chains, have, interoperable solutions integrated into their platforms, be able to be KYC, verify, all this stuff that's happening. So be able to be regulatory compliant. Like, I do a lot of research. I know you guys do a lot of research on, companies and organizations that are literally sitting in on these panel discussions and these open meetings and forums, or hosting them with regulators. A lot of people right now are just upset about the lack of price appreciation. But to refer back to my previous statement, why I love DeFi is because you don't care about price at a certain point in your DeFi and investing journey. You really start to let go of the price of these digital assets and start to look at them as assets. It doesn't matter if XRP price is 50 cents or $50. It can do the same thing no matter what price it's at. You know, people are so fixated on the price of these digital assets because we've been manipulated into previous bull market cycles, when this next one is about to surpass all the other cycles, and people are going to lose their wealth because they don't know how to maintain it, grow it, scale it, and keep it after this next cycle. They're going to sell it back into fiat, and that worked the previous 2 cycles. But we're on the brink of economic freaking, I don't even want to get into that, but y'all know what's going on with BRICS long term, the United States dollar, global superpowers changing hands. It happens every 80 to 100 years, and we're on that turn point where I'd say probably over the next 10 to 20 years, it's something really going to really hit, really hit the fan. Like we're on the brink, and this digital transformation is all a part of that. I wanted to see what Frank has, because I know that he hasn't been on the stage. So, but I just wanted to take a second real fast. Shout out to the 827 people that I can see that are listening to this call. Really do appreciate you guys for coming out. Our goal here today, no matter if you came in early or late, was to show you guys that institutions are interested in DeFi. We are 110% early in this space. I know that people hate hearing it. Trust me, I hate researching it because I don't like to hear that we're early either. But instead of being pessimistic about it, I like to be optimistic and see it as an opportunity and understand that over the course of the next couple of months / years, we're about to experience and live through, and we are living through it right now, something so transformational that when we look back in time, 5 years, 10 years from now, if you network with the right people, you commit yourself to the right communities, and you tap into the right information, you are going to be very, very happy that you did so. Very, very happy that you did so. There are methods to fix that dopamine hit that you need when you're investing in these markets. And I firmly believe that DeFi is the integration of both trading and investing. You get that short-term fix of daily profits that you get from trading, if you're not losing money, of course. And you also get that comfortable feeling of holding a blue chip asset for the long term, because in DeFi, you don't have to sell, to make money. So it's the perfect cohesion of what's going on right now, whether you're a trader or you're an investor. DeFi is like the baby. If trading and investing came into fruition in the digital space and had a baby, DeFi is that baby, I highly suggest you guys get educated. Again, I don't recommend anybody expose their capital to these markets unless they know what they're doing, which is, again, why myself and Mr. Aqua created an entire course showing you how we physically exposed our capital to this space to learn DeFi and to get involved in DeFi and to figure out how to get our digital assets working for us. And we're constantly thriving and looking at ongoing developments in this space. Like I said, if you come into the community, you get recorded or live access to Zoom calls each and every single week. The Discord, Frank here and Anthony, who's not on this call, running our CYPRX research team, are literally dropping hundreds of fundamentals and documents every single week that never reach the mainstream. Mr. Mann's got his platform where he's sharing valid research, regulations, developments that are happening in this space that will never make it on CNBC, Fox News, ABC, or any YouTube channel at that. Now's the time to go on into an educational platform or join a community or start tapping into people that actually know what the heck is going on and not just fixating your attention on Fibonacci's, bullish moon boy, price predictions, and indicators, retail indicators. All right. Anyways, that's my spiel. Hopefully you guys follow these other gentlemen here. They both have Twitters and YouTube platforms, so make sure that you give everybody here a follow.